Hello, my name is Dante Renee, and welcome to the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more. Like tonight's film, this is 1974's A Climax of Blue Power, put out on Blu-ray and DVD by the almighty Vinegar Syndrome. This is the reversible cover art here, and she is wearing panties, so we're safe there. And right here it says, an emotional and physical turn-on from beginning to end. A climax of blue power. Let's get into this film right here. This is directed by Lee Frost. And we have William Quinn, Angela Carnan, Starlin Simone, Ushi Degard, whoa, what? And Wes Bishop. So some people that I have not seen before, and I have to tell you that we have people from Love Me Deadly, Dixie Dynamite, Psycho from Texas, and the Black Gestapo. So we got a pretty interesting cast in here, and this is not going to be the cast that you're familiar with typically in a hardcore film from the 70s, okay? So let's enter into this extremely unique and outstanding hardcore film. If any of you out there are kind of maybe, on the fence, or just, you're not really buying, hardcore films or X-rated films or things like that, I can tell you that A Climax of Blue Power is a movie that will bridge some gaps between the people who really might not have any respect for hardcore cinema, and maybe it's just, there's no interest there, but they have interest in exploitation films or horror films or sexploitation films. This could be a very interesting bridge there. Let's get into A Climax of Blue Power, and I'm just so excited to talk about it. I have some notes below, so you're going to see my eyes divert, so let's go. Dreams, fantasies, memories, obsession within a world of law and sex, cross-dressing, S&M, rape, violence, prostitutes, massage parlors, the mental worlds of the movies Christmas Evil and William Lustig's Maniac, the mental worlds of those lead characters. Masturbation, anger, fetishes, crime, murder, porn, voyeurism, hopes and dreams, twists and turns, unsolved mysteries, and more. When we look at the music for this fascinating film, we see disco, funk. I mean, right from the get-go, you're going to hear some disco, amazing, like pounding, awesome, exploitation, dirty, red light district, city street music. And it's just perfect. Disco funk, psychedelic, classic rock, orchestra, avant-garde, dark horror vibes, weird, unsettling vibes, and here's a big one, silence. Total silence. The mental thoughts and inner dialogue of the lead character and the different inner worlds of his heart and mind. And total silence, because maybe that's exactly where his mind is at those moments. It's interesting because oftentimes when there's no music, especially in an X-rated film, you'll just hear the natural sounds of the scene, the breathing, the orgasms, the moaning, whatever. But in here, there are scenes of total silence and some very unique sound designs. Is it thunder or is it gunshots? There are times when you're hearing these sounds, and sometimes repeatedly, and it kind of confuses you and pushes you and keeps you off track. This film uses kind of sepia tones and pink hues. There's this wonderful night at a rainstorm and a naked body in front of a car, the headlights in the rainstorm, and a man in the driver's seat rolling the window down and screaming. The red light district, nighttime sleazy driving. The viewer is being pulled along this film ignorantly and discovering the story through twists and turns and surprises, which is evidence of a really good film. It's engaging, at least, right? Engaging. We have hallucinatory worlds in here that kind of at times can match the psychedelic avant-garde sound design of the film as well. Sexually in this film, we have beatings, anal, fingering, sexual violence / rape, and even an old projected porno film, or maybe not that old, maybe from 1974. And the interesting thing is, as I mentioned previously, to have a porn film like this, a Climax of Blue Power, and to have a character within the storyline, within the plot of the film, utilizing pornography as a part of his perspective, his world, but there's deafness as to making any types of assumptions or any types of conclusions. For even the trailer of this film that's on this Blu-ray and DVD set kind of gives reports of the social climate against pornography and the research and the tests that people have done. And so as we watch this film and we see the lead character, we have this character who makes porn a part of his life. And this is a character that has mental issues and also there's a very evil presence about him, negative, disorderly, dysfunctional. And so it's very interesting, without conclusions, without assumptions. It's part of the storyline. The makings of the mind, of the human mind, and its connections to sex and fantasy and reality or surreality. Okay? You know, when we look at sex films in general, we have the sexual fantasy. When we look at masturbation, we have the sexual fantasy. And that, you know, what is the connection there between the fantasy and our reality? You know, is there any connection at all? As opposed, you know, except for the fact that there are elements of our reality that we fetishize, or you know, but what are the connections there? Again, the film doesn't need to make any conclusions. We're there. There are no answers. It's just observational. It's an observational entrance into the world of the lead character. And that's all that it should be. And let the conversations and the discussions and the conclusions erupt from the viewers as they should. But let the movie do its work and allow it just to be there. Delusions or fantasies, obsessions or fetishes, the planning and organization of obsession. This film has no concern for the outside world. This film has no concern for what is considered real or unreal. Rather, the reality of the lead character is our only reality. Much like when you look at the films that I mentioned earlier, Christmas Evil and William Lustig's Maniac. This is a very unique film in that it has horror elements, exploitation elements, sexploitation elements, and of course also hardcore sex. And excellent acting, great characters, and a film that's very, very engaging. It's a film that has real sex in it, but it's not your typical film you might put on to spice up your night with your significant other or others. But I will say, depending on your fetish it might, but it's a very dark and engaging work. And it's a movie that might blow the roof off of what people thought hardcore films could be. This is 1974's A Climax of Blue Power. Thank you, Vinegar Syndrome, so much for this. And thank you for watching the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more, like this one. Please feel free to check out my own personal films at youtube.com/poopydiarrhea. That's Poopy diarrhea. Thank you so much, and good night.